Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Alyssa and this channel is about the law of attraction, building self-empowerment, and conquering limiting self-beliefs. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button along with the bell icon if you'd like to see more of this content. And please like and share this video if you end up enjoying it. So today's topic, as you can see by the title, is a little different from what I normally talk about. But I was having trouble sleeping the other night and I had a question that was sort of lingering in my brain, and that was, why don't seemingly evil or narcissistic people seem to get back what they throw at the rest of us? And as I discuss a lot on this channel, the law of attraction states, in short, that what we put out there, eventually we get back. We reap what we sow. And that projects as our outer reality. But why do so many crappy people seem to be living their best lives while the people that they've hurt suffer for years, struggling with these experiences that they went through with these people? So many people who hate on the law of attraction use the argument of, well, if we really get what we put out there and the universe is providing, why do murderers or just horrible people seem to get what they want so easily, suffering little to no consequence for their wrongdoings? Would the universe really allow innocent people to get hurt while these jerks thrive? We won't get into the psyche of a murderer in this video. Maybe another one. So we'll stick to the people that we're more accustomed to encountering, which would be the narcissist. What is a narcissist? Narcissistic personality disorder is a state of having an inflated sense of self-importance. It's all about them. Whatever's happening in the world, they can always bring it back to being about them. And this, of course, ripples into other traits and behaviors, such as bullying, a complete disregard for others, the need for attention, superiority, to the point where they'll knock other people down and step on their corpses just to get ahead. We've all encountered at least one person with two or more of these traits, and we all know that these people just suck the ever-loving life out of you. These are what we call energy vampires. And without these people recognizing and getting help for this, like everything in this universe, these traits will expand. So they can sometimes go from narcissist to straight up sociopath, causing lifelong problems for the people that they encounter. And unfortunately, a ton of people are being tied down by these people who are sucking all of the energy out of them, so now they can't thrive. Do you ever notice how narcissists typically attract empathetic partners? You see these jerks with these really nice people and it just doesn't seem to make any sense. When I think about people like that and how they came to be and why they show up in the lives of empaths, my mind always goes back to energy and the vibrational frequencies that we're all giving off. So think about it. Let's take Joe Schmo. Joe's a nice guy. Joe would give the shirt off of his back to someone in need. Joe considers the feelings of others and goes out of his way to make sure he's not offending or hurting anyone. Well, Mr. Schmo had a parent that always put him down and made him feel badly about himself. Joe spent a lot of time as a kid wondering why, being as nice as he is, why he's being treated so poorly by someone who should love him. Well, he never goes within himself and deals with these issues. So he goes through life thinking this is just the way life goes, people suck, and you just have to get by. So he grows up and attracts Becky. Becky is a narcissist. Becky grew up not getting a lot of attention from her parents, and the attention that she did get was either negative or not enough for her, whatever the case. So Becky decided as a kid that she'll have to take on her own identity, maybe a superiority complex, to essentially survive her circumstances. Becky grows up, doesn't deal with her stuff either, and she attracts kind, empathetic Joe. Everything seems great for a bit, they get into a relationship, maybe they move in together, and Joe starts noticing that Becky puts him down a lot. She doesn't encourage his goals, in fact she disregards them, downplays them, borderline bullies him, and just makes Joe feel like crap. But how can this be? Joe is such a nice guy, right? Well, Joe also has a victimhood mindset for not dealing with his upbringing. Becky has a narcissistic mindset where she needs validation that she is superior and the center of the universe, or at least her world. And since Joe is such a people-pleasing victim of circumstance, he will provide that validation for her. Why? Because Joe is giving off an energy that is welcoming that behavior. So his subconscious is seeking out its own verification of his victimhood. If he didn't get that treatment from Becky, he still would have gotten it from somebody else. Empaths who are stuck in victimhood will always attract people to confirm that identity. And those narcissistic, life-sucking vampires need our energy to confirm their power or superiority. So Joe is literally feeding Becky, and he's sacrificing his life and his happiness because he's stuck in that mindset. By the way, I'll link my video on how to get out of victimhood in the description box below. Once I realized this was a mindset that I embodied, I realized how common it is and how most people don't know that they're stuck in it. So go ahead and watch that if you'd like. Again, I'll go ahead and link that in the description box. But anyway, what can Joe do about his situation? Well, he needs to do some soul searching and figure out why he's giving off the energy that he is and start embodying a different identity. Someone who's not a victim. Someone who respects and loves themselves and understands his self-worth. In turn, he starts seeking out people who confirm that belief instead of his old one. Once he takes on a new identity, he won't be feeding Becky anymore. So she'll get hungry and move on to her next victim because Joe is not giving her the validation that she craves. And that might suck at first, breakups are tough, but as this new person, Joe knows what he needs to weed out of his life so that he can thrive. Sadly, most people don't recognize this, so they become stuck in it, and it gets toxic and ugly. But we empaths need to stop feeding these people our precious, precious energy and look within and see why we've allowed it for so long. Once that's recognized and conquered, our perspective on so many things starts to shift. We know what we need to thrive, and Becky ain't it. So when these narcissists start doing what they do, poking the bear that is you, testing you, trying to bring you down, the best thing that you can do if you're not in a place where you're ready to separate yourself or you can't separate yourself for some reason, the best thing that you can do is to stop reacting to what they're throwing at you. Yes, this is so much easier said than done because they know exactly what to say to make you tick. But you reacting emotionally to what they say and do is feeding them that energy, that confirmation of that identity that they've taken on. And they're feeding you the confirmation of your identity, the victim. So stop feeding these reactions to them. I get it, it does not happen overnight. This is another training process or a new habit to embody. But I'm thinking that if you can undergo this training process of not reacting, you're already on the path to clearing that past identity of yours. And once that happens, you won't be inclined to put up with that anymore and you will just separate yourself. So when do people like Becky get their karma or their payback? Do they get their payback? Eventually, yes. If it doesn't happen in their current lifetime, it'll happen sometime after that. And I know how that sounds. It sounds very out there, ridiculous, and utterly disappointing. But I started watching a show on Netflix. It's called The OA. And I fell in love with it because it mainly surrounds the topic of near-death experiences. So after I watched that, I started researching NDEs or near-death experiences to see what other people have encountered with that. And recently I came across a YouTube video posted by a woman named Trisha Barker, who was featured in an episode of I Survived Beyond and Back. And I reached out to her the other day. She's so amazing, but she details her experience so well and vividly. And I'm gonna go ahead and link a couple of her videos and her channel down in the description box below so you can check that out. But she mentioned that she experienced a life review. And most people think of that as your life flashing before your eyes in sort of fleeting images. And I'm not saying that's not something that may happen, but after doing more research on life reviews and hearing Trisha's story, it turns out that a lot of people find themselves going back to specific learning experiences that they've had in life, and they get to see and feel the impact of their life. They experience things that they may have missed out on, things they could have done differently, but more importantly, some have gotten to actually feel and experience the impact that they've had on other people's lives, how they made them feel as a result of their actions or behavior. So keeping to the theme of this video, the Beckys take on the burden that they've put on the Joes of the world, and they experience it full on. Now, I understand that this isn't necessarily a satisfying response to crappy people getting their karma or payback. I totally understand that a lot of people have been victimized by some pretty awful people, and they'd like to see that justice happen in this lifetime. But just know that they will feel it at one point or another. They will see and feel what they've done. It has gone around, therefore it must come back around. But something else, and this might be even more important, something else that people need to understand is the power of forgiveness. I do plan on making a video on forgiveness, but for now, just try to see it from this angle. There is not one single world that we all live in. Everything is perspective. Everything is relative to what others are experiencing based on their past, their upbringing, and how they've been wired. We all perceive reality very, very differently. Remember that our subconscious programming begins while we're still in utero. Information from your mother's environment while she's pregnant with you gets transferred to you so that when you're born, you can survive the circumstances into which you'll be born. So Becky was born with certain programming, and it amplified over time so that she could survive her circumstances. Unlike you and me, she doesn't know how all of this works. She doesn't know that she was born a pure being with a purpose to fulfill. That's why there's so many a-holes walking around this earth. These are people who are just not aware of who they are or the impact that they're having in this life. I grew up with a step-parent that was not very nice to my family. But once I realized all of this, I looked at him through different lenses, so to speak, through different eyes. And this is something that I'm still working on, but at least I don't see him in the same way. And that's allowing me to gain perspective and move on with my life. So start there and empathize. I get that it's not easy. Again, I'm still working on this myself. But staying angry is harming you more than it's harming them. I guarantee it. But getting treated better starts with you. So stop letting these vampires suck the life and energy out of you. You're literally feeding them and they're thriving while you struggle. Love yourself, respect yourself, see what happens. So that's all I've got for today. I really hope this was helpful. Please leave me a comment if you have any questions or have something to add. Also, go ahead and like and share this video if you enjoyed it. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. But thank you all so much for watching. Please stay tuned. My next video will be continuing my lessons on the 12 divine laws of the universe. And the next one is going to be the law of attraction, one of my favorites. So stay tuned for that. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. Please be safe. Much love, and I'll see you next time.